Do you have realistic expectations? Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. Realistic expectations. I'm so guilty of this. I don't know about you guys, but I have unrealistic expectations in my life. But I want to talk to passengers and drivers in the world of Uber and rideshare. And I want to talk to you not necessarily just about Uber and Lyft, but just in life in general. And having realistic expectations is really important. So let's talk to the passengers first. Passengers, you should have realistic expectations about Uber and what's going to come and who's going to come and pick you up, what car is going to arrive. This is what's happening from a driver's perspective. Drivers of an Uber are pushed to the limit. We really are. It's Uber and Lyft, and they have to do this. I understand they have to do this to some extent, but they're trying not to raise prices on you, the passenger, while trying to expand their margins and become profitable, while costs are increasing, specifically like commercial auto insurance. So the one thing that's giving right now is the Uber driver. I make about 10 to 12% less now in real dollars, not inflated dollars or anything else, than I did last year and the year before and the year before. Yeah, I'd say 2023 was probably my peak earnings year. And it wasn't just the fares. I made good money on the fares, but there was promotions and some other things like that. And so what does that mean for you, passenger? Let's talk about safety. Drivers are having to drive longer hours to make what they made before. So like me as a professional full-time driver, I drive somewhere between 30 to 60 hours in a week. It depends. And to drive 30 to 60 hours, I used to be able to make close to $2,000 a week. Now I'm lucky if I can, and I say the word make, I'm talking about revenue, not in terms of costs or profitability. So don't get too stung up on words here, but $2,000 what would go into my bank account. Now, if I were to work 60 hours on a great week, I'd probably bring in 17 to 1,800 bucks. So less money, but my costs have also gone up. And so what does that mean for you as a passenger? Safety. Drivers, it's harder for us physically, mentally to be out on the road at odd hours driving a vehicle. It's unsafe. That's why I use FSD so much. I feel like it makes me a safer driver. When I have my Tesla and I put in autonomous mode, I know there's a second set of eyes driving. And I've never gotten in a wreck, knock on the microphone or whatever. So I don't feel like I'm horribly dangerous as a driver. I'm a very slow driver. If you've ridden with me, my driver score is like a 97 to 99, and it says I'm accelerating too fast. Uber has a mechanism that measures us as drivers, but what it is there's a lot of hills where I'm at, and it always says I'm accelerating too fast going down a hill. It is what it is, but it's unsafe. In fact, drivers, one of the critiques of a previous video of mine, passengers can see me driving the car and navigating the app, which is right over here. And they're like, hey, you need to be looking at the road. Let me tell you, it's almost impossible for an Uber driver to make more than minimum wage if they never looked at their phone, only when they're parked on the side of the road, put their car in park. 100% of every single rideshare driver is looking at their phone and probably touching it in some way while they're doing rideshare, while you're in the car. And the reason why is because the margins are so tight. Uber and Lyft are offering us rides while we're driving. I'm in an intersection. You're talking to me. There's something on the radio. It could be raining, and Uber's trying to offer me a ride and giving me 7 seconds to decide whether it's a profitable ride or not. And, years past, I just ignore it. I could care less. But now the margins are so tight that I'm like, I have to try to do mental math in my head and look at that ride, yes or no. I have to hit a button to accept it, yes or no. And that's why my cancellation rate goes up too, by the way. So the second part to this, passengers, is not only are your drivers at risk more unsafe because of this pursuit of margins, the the drivers are gonna try to do things to like multitask. So I might accept a trip, and then when I accept that trip, I might, after I drop off my other passenger, I might go, oh man, I shouldn't have accepted that. My math was all wrong. So what I then do is I cancel that one and I try to get another trip. And that means it's going to be longer for you to get a ride. Then on top of that, I don't do this, but a lot of other drivers have multiple phones and multiple apps running. They're running Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and other things, and they're trying to decide between all of these while driving. That's it's insane. It's really bad. So we're making less money, and the apps are just pushing us to we're not all. I don't know how to do the math in my head that quick. And so they're trying to trick us. The app is operating like a game for us to try to decide whether it's a good trip or a bad trip. And it's not safe, it's not healthy. So you, as a passenger, your expectations should be along those lines. And the final thing, the compromise that's happening also, is the quality of the vehicles. And you probably have experienced this. Now, me, I take a lot of pride. It costs me an hour every day, if not more, to get my car washed. I go get the outside done, which I don't really care too much about, but the inside, I get it steamed and vacuumed and wiped down, windows done, because I want you as the passenger to experience a clean car. And I spend a lot of time on that and a lot of effort. My car is in well running condition too. If you order the cheapest Uber, my car might show up, then it's great. But you could also get, somebody who's driving a broken down Camry with like a donut wheel on it, right? A flat tire wheel, and their muffler's dragging, and they haven't cleaned their car ever. So the quality standards are going down. And the reason why is because drivers can't put time and money back into their cars to provide you an excellent service. So we're talking about realistic expectations. I don't know what's going to happen first. My assumption is that Uber and Lyft are just biding their time, hoping that autonomous cars come quicker. That's kind of my assumption, but I don't know what's going to happen. But you should have a realistic expectation that you're rolling the dice with your driver sometimes. Now, most of the drivers I know are really good people. They have great cars, but I drive in Syracuse. I don't know in other cities, but I've ordered Ubers and I've gotten in some pretty, bad cars. And I know why the drivers are doing it. They're just trying to make a living, and it's really hard to make more than minimum wage. And you don't want your driver, final thing, passengers, you don't want your driver making minimum wage. It's not like flipping burgers. It's not like driving a car or you driving your own car. Yeah, when you're 16, you get your license, you can go out and drive a car, but it's not the same thing. And you in your own life, driving your car to and from, your work, the same route every single day, you're putting your life in the hands of some person driving. The last thing you want is a sleep deprived, strung out person in a broken down car racing around trying to do mental math, at 2 a.m. You want a professional. I'm not saying we have to be millionaires, but you don't want somebody like when I was 16 driving you. I've gotten so many wrecks. I was a horrible driver then. So realistic expectations on that end. Now, for my fellow drivers, I think that pretty much laid it all out, didn't it? Am I right? Is that a pretty accurate statement? So for my drivers out there, you should realistically expect rates to go down more. You should realistically expect to get less tips. You should realistically expect to work harder. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get worse. There's going to be autonomous cars. This industry was peak before. It's no longer. It's a race to the bottom. And you and I as drivers, we're the bottom of that, totem pole or whatever. I don't know. Is that the right word? That's not the right word, is it? But we're the bottom. We're the bottom feeders, especially if you're driving Lyft Basic or Uber X. You're the definite bottom. And so my recommendation to you is just to have realistic expectations. Definitely start thinking about getting other lines of work. Definitely don't invest a lot of money into your car. Definitely don't risk your life for a $3 fare, you know, it's only going to get worse. There's no um there's no optimism in it, and that's really a sad thing. So you should realistically expect next year to make less than you make this year, no matter how you measure it, per mile, per minute, per hour, per week, per whatever. You're going to make less. And it would be easy for me to say that it's Uber and Lyft are greedy to some extent. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I can't read into their heart as a corporate entity. I have heard from people that worked at Uber. I had an Uber passenger actually. He worked at Uber, and he said that definitely there are people there at the company that dislike the drivers. And I could see that. I could see that's probably a pretty common thing amongst all companies disliking people they work with. And so I don't know how prevalent it is, but I can tell you I don't get a sense from Dara that he cares too much about us. I think David over at Lyft does. I just don't get any rides. And so, David, if you ever see this, I would love you to deliver more rides to me as a Lyft driver. I would use Lyft over Uber because the app is better, and I think you care. I don't think Dara cares. I don't think he cares at all. I think he's in a race for autonomous cars. That's my gut feeling. I think the shareholders, Jason Calcanis, I'm looking at you. You just profit. I get it. Get your money, man. But for drivers, you should have a realistic expectation that it's going to get worse out there, especially if the economy takes a turn for the negative, worse than maybe what it is already. There's going to be more drivers. I hate being a doom and gloom kind of guy. Um, that's the way I feel about it, which sucks because passengers, I hope you're still listening. I really like you guys. It's the passenger experience that's amazing, and that's what I try to make this content about. That's what I really want to focus on. I want to spend more of my time just talking about the amazing people that I meet and the experiences. I took I took a young man that immigrated from Dallas to Nigeria today, and just he's making beats, and it was so fun to just hear him just kind of have his passions in life, and just listening to Nigerian music the whole drive. I love that, and I'm trying to think of all the rides I had today. I can't go through them all, but yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Realistic expectations, and if you have a realistic expectation in life, you're not disappointed, and it's a negative way of kind of living life. You should try to be optimist, or I think that's the right word. I'm just really frustrated, and you probably can get that sense from me. And it's not that I didn't make good money or bad money today or anything like that. But every time I start thinking about, 2, 3 years from now, I think to myself, like, I just probably won't be doing this, even though it's the best job I've ever had. It's the job that I love the most. It's hard, but I love it. But the industry is pushing wages and compensation so low, and they're making drivers take more and more risks. And the passengers are pushing, the limits. It's really, really hard, and it's disappointing. And I wish it wasn't like that, but I think it is. Huh. All right, so enough doom and gloom. Thank you for listening. Hey, if you're a driver out there for 2025, I really want you to drive your way. Don't feel pressured to do dumb things to make $3. Do the things that you like to do. Do it because you like to do it. And find your exit strategy. I definitely recommend that. But overall, I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy. Passengers, I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy too. I'm cheering for you all. Be well. Bye.